guys, welcome to another video. Today what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you some really cool Zentangle designs. So let's get started. First, for a quick starter, all Zentangle designs are very unique. So you can either make your own or you can follow some of the simple ones in this video before we try to make your own custom one. So the first one I'm going to show you is what I call the wave. So what it looks like is it's a line going up and then curving and then going back down and up. It can go on for forever and ever. It's really good in smaller designs though, because eventually those lines are just going to be getting floppier and bigger and weirder, and this is something that doesn't look as good. So smaller designs are better for the wave. Voila. Second design I'm going to show you is called plaid. What it looks like is just a bunch of lines, and you can space them however you want, and you just make a bunch of squares, and then you split those squares like this, and then you split them again in the other way. So it looks almost like a plaid shirt, except it's a lot more, it's different. So this is better in bigger spaces whenever you just want to cover up the space because you're absolutely done. The next design that I'm going to show you is called bubble. And what it does is you make a bunch of big bubbles and little ones too sometimes. And what you're going to do is you're going to fill in all the little spaces with slightly smaller bubbles, and it's pretty good in smaller spaces too, because it's a lot of work and a lot of precision if you want it to look good. So eventually it'll turn out to be a big clump of multi-shaped bubbles. It is one of my favorites. Okay, so the next one I call scales. So they look like reptilian scales and mermaid scales at the same time, except reptilian scales are a lot more smaller, so this is a type of reptile scale. So what you're going to do first is you're going to do bumps, and they're going to be facing downwards. And then you're going to go in the middle of those bumps, and you're going to do the exact same thing, but connecting the top to the top. So they'll start looking like this. And when you keep going and going and going, it will eventually look like you skinned a lizard on your paper. And you drew it. This is normally good if you're doing the reptilian scales. It's better for smaller spaces, but the mermaid scales are a lot easier. They're bigger and rounder, but it's the same concept. These scales are really amazing with light pastel colors that you blend together if you end up coloring them. So this is the basic mermaid scale and reptilian scales. The next one I'm going to show you is what I call infinity. This one is one of the harder ones because it's hard to get precise enough to do it. But what you do is you make something that looks just like a wavelength. You're going to try to get them to look exactly the same. This one is better for like the smallest spaces where you can only fit a little bit in. And now what you're going to do is you're going to connect these troughs so it looks kind of like an infinity symbol, but in a big line. And it's weird-ish looking, but it's okay for smaller spots where you want some different texture. The next one I'm going to show you guys is called Chain, and I like this one because it's simple but it looks cool. So what it's going to do is you're going to draw a bunch of little ovals, but they're going to be just slightly spaced apart. So they aren't touching, but they aren't miles away from each other. So something similar to this. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to connect them all with a line. Make sure the lines in each one don't connect, but it's just a simple chain, and whenever you have them overlapping or crisscrossing each other, they look pretty cool. So that's the simple chain. And now for the next one, I call it a braid. And what you do is you make a line like this, so it's slanted, and you can do it in any way. And then you just keep slanting through the middle of each line. And it'll look sort of like a braid at first, but if you want it to really look like one, then you can add the clumps, kind of. But it looks just a lot better whenever you just connect each line to the end and then the middle. So it'll give you a really cool shape. It's pretty good for smaller spaces because when it's really big, it doesn't look as good. So I'd suggest using it in smaller spaces, but you can do it in whichever space you want. Now for the next pattern that I'm going to show you, it is going to be it's similar to a pattern of, so this one is pretty cool because it's kind of like a hypnotizing effect. That's why I call it hypno. Whoops. But it's kind of confusing because you can add multiple in one, but at the same time, it can be a drawing on its own. So first you're going to add like a snail shell type thing, and then you're going to add lines like so. Now the hard part about this thing is that you try to match your lines so that they're layered like bricks. So one is going to be slightly overlapping through the middle of each one. But if you keep going, it'll look really cool. It'll give it some form of effect that makes it look a bit 3D-ish. Now, here comes a really simple design. I call it zigzag. I'm just going to say zig right here. And guess what you do? A zigzag! But the cool thing about making patterns is that you can combine all of the ones that I've shown you into a really cool other design. So, for example, you can take zigzag, like that. And then I'm just going to add some lines on the bottom, like this, and on the top. And I'm going to add a chain on the top. Now this is one of my favorite designs because it's just so abstract that you can't even tell what it is. So then I'm going to connect them all so that it's like there's a chain at the top of the sky of a big mountain, or maybe a rattlesnake had an accident and so it's stitched up with chains or something. But either way, it just gives it a cool effect of there's nothing really purposeful, but at the same time, it's really cool. Now for the next one, I'm going to add some scales in here. And it's cool because it looks like it's full of curiosity, I guess. It just looks really cool. So that's kind of like a mermaid scale mountain, and with this design, it'll take a little while to finish this, so I'm just gonna pause it and then show you what it looks like. So this is what the design looks like so far. I really like it because it's time-consuming, but not boring. So after that, what I did was on the top things, I added a modified version of plaid. So this time it's just diamonds and stripes, then diamonds, then stripes, then diamonds. And this is my favorite design for an animal that I think is pretty cool, but not one of my favorites. And let's see if you can guess it. Okay, well, if you guessed snake, then you would be correct. And the reason why I like drawing this animal, but it's not my favorite, is because you can just add so many patterns on this one single little piece of like fabric or something, and then you can just turn it into a snake. And I think that that's pretty cool because you can just add whatever you want or nothing, and it will still look like a snake. And yeah. If you have any more ideas of really cool patterns, you can tell me in the comments below or post a picture in the comments too, if that's possible. I really like doing art, so if you have any other ideas for art tutorials that I should do, comment in the comments below and subscribe if you like this video or just like it. But I really like subscribers. Thank you. Bye.